welcome back to the Blind Press YouTube and Twitch channels. I hope you guys are having a good Monday evening. We are here with a couple of videos to watch, and depending on how late it is, maybe a little bit of gaming, but I'm not sure. We'll see. I've got I found a couple. Well, I found one, no, two, and then I've grabbed one. Pincalo sent me a clip of the Taiwan debate with Hassan and Ethan. So we'll see how long I can watch that before I get ridiculously angry. But yeah, I hope you guys are having a good evening. It's been kind of a weird weather day. It started off this morning with a really weird storm that kind of blew in really quick, and then it was very sunny later on it was very weird. It was just like Pincala was describing how quickly the storm was coming in. It was crazy. I guess that's what you get in the fall with hurricanes landing on the East Coast. You get the tail end of all that funness. Yeah, it's just a weird weather day. And I was thinking about this, about all this weird, climate change, and how the temperature of the world is, apparently going up. And I keep thinking, because I like to nerd out by watching like geological videos and the history of the planet stuff. And I can't help but think to myself, even during human history, there have been incredibly strong times of volcanology that have really affected the climate. And I think there was a time, was it during the time of Caesar, that we actually had the same melting of the Greenland ice caps that we do today. So, and they weren't driving cars and burning coal and all that stuff. So, I mean, I don't understand how we can sit here and go, this is all man-made and we are all killing ourselves. It's like, really? Hello, Spittlebuggies. It's just a weird position to be in, because yes, we absolutely are affecting the climate, but like, even as a as a layman, who just watches a bunch of National Geographic shit and nerds out, I understand that this planet has climate cycles, and we go through periods of extreme heat and extreme cold naturally. And as our sun ages, it's going to happen more, because our sun is going to be producing more energy. The only reason our planet stayed the temperature it did for as long as it did while the sun was young and not putting out as much energy was because of greenhouse gases. So, I mean, we like, a lot of these people just don't understand the important role that greenhouse gas actually plays in our atmosphere, because we do need it. We don't need an abundance of it, but we need it. And the crazy thing is that I don't think most of these people understand that there's only about 20% oxygen in the atmosphere. Like, we do not breathe pure oxygen. I don't think these people understand that. Like, we have a nitrogen oxygen atmosphere. I with carbon dioxide, and like, it, why do these people think that this is new? I don't understand. I was just talking to Pincalo about this today, about how in 536 AD, historians, scientists archaeologists, they've seems to have come to a consensus that there was some global catastrophe that had to do with volcanism, because they refer to it as the year the sun went dark. And there are written accounts from the time from all over the world about just the sun going red, like the sky going red and the sun going dark. And then, you know, we also have the plague of Justinian, which happened at around the same time, which was the Black Death, of course. And it's just how all of this is connected. And I was saying to Pincalo, I don't think these people understand. And that's where his tweet about the intellectual dark ages came in, because we were talking about how history is just completely being erased and nobody knows about this shit anymore because nobody wants to sit and read a book. Nobody wants to learn. So it's absolutely pathetic and sad. So yeah, that's my opening rant for the evening. Let's switch over to the live screen. And hope to hell that Chrome is sharing. Because I had to I had to shut down my computer and restart it. So I had to close Streamlabs in Chrome. Which means it's probably not sharing anymore. But we can hope. We can hope that it's still sharing. So yes, as I said, I've got some videos for us. I found a DSP video. Thank you, Memology. Memology rocks for all the clip videos of DSP. Apparently, his fans made him waste his money on MK1. Also, but first we have a Radical video. I'm gonna pop that into theater mode, which I should have done already. Okay. Hopefully we have a shared screen. Let's see. The audio should be shared, but and my dumbass forgot to ask for cited confirmation before I went live. But let's see here.
No, unbuckle your seatbelt. Yes, unbuckle your seatbelt.
Unbuckle your seatbelt.
It's the high IQ version of getting out of the car. Unbuckling your seatbelt. What else are you gonna do? Walk around with your car on your back? You weirdo.
What the fuck? Walk around. I'm confused right away. Right away.
How's it going, man? Turn down the radio.
Yeah,
The reason I'm stopping you is you're not wearing your
Why
seatbelt.
is the radio so loud?
Pause.
Paused.
Pause it. Change it to taking a break screen for a second.
Oh.
We're having technical difficulties.
Did it not share? Okay. There we go. I am on taking a break.
Keep talking. Continue your.
Yeah, sorry about that. I had to shut down the computer and.
Yeah, I can't do what I need to do.
Well, oh.
What?
Do I need to end?
No. I just need to make it so I'm not on camera.
Oh,
No, don't worry. Don't worry.
Okay.
Just talk.
Okay. What was I saying? I had something in mind. Oh yeah. Fuck! It went away again.
Talk while I fix this.
God damn it! I hate when my brain does this.
Well, let me explain what's going on. Okay, so OBS has got this weird problem. So we've got her set up with almost everything except for this one problem that Streamlabs OBS continues to do, and that's it doesn't continuously show the window capture, but it also doesn't read the actual individual how to get into the window capture settings in order to do this. So sorry about that, folks.
Yeah, and it just reads off, like, whenever you go to make the source, it just goes Control Center, and then starts listing everything. Like, just...
Okay, so you're back on taking a break screen, because I don't want to be on camera.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
We're good? Okay. Okay. So let's back this up.
No, unbuckle your seatbelt. Yes, unbuckle your seatbelt.
Unbuckle your seatbelt.
It's the high IQ version of getting out of the car. Unbuckling your seatbelt. What else are you gonna do? Walk around with your car on your back? You weirdo.
You're just listening? Oh, that's fine. You're doing it my way.
How's it going, man? Turn down the.
That is
Turn
loud.
down the radio. The reason I'm stopping you is you're not wearing your seatbelt. Huh? Okay, can you turn down the radio? I cannot hear what you're saying. Okay, do you have your ID and insurance on
Yes,
you?
it is your
Oh, wait a
fault.
minute. We started off with you wearing a seatbelt, and now you're not wearing a seatbelt. Did you put it on during the traffic stop? Are you trying to pull a fast one? No? Oh, fancy meeting you here.
I love that cow. That cow makes me laugh all the time.
How come you're not wearing your seatbelt? Do what?
I said this is a pretty new car to me,
Uh-huh.
and I'm just trying to enjoy it. I'm not gonna lie.
Back that up.
You here.
How come you're not wearing your seatbelt? Do what?
I said this is a pretty new car to me,
Uh-huh.
and I'm just trying to enjoy it. I'm not gonna lie.
This is a pretty new car to me, and I'm just trying to enjoy it. I'm not going to lie. That's the dumbest reason for not wearing a seatbelt I think I've ever heard.
Okay. 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 You haven't taken any THC at all tonight, whether it be smoking it,
Eating
edibles, anything like that. Have you taken any other medications? None at all.
it. Are you sure?
Marijuana in the car because there were people smoking marijuana in the vehicle, but they have a medical marijuana license. I wasn't in the vehicle when they were smoking.
So it smells like marijuana in here, but there is no marijuana in here.
That's great. Okay, so first of all, he wasn't wearing a seatbelt because this is a new car to him and he wants to enjoy it. Now the cop can smell marijuana because he had friends that have a medical marijuana license and they were smoking it, but he didn't want to smoke any of it. But there's no marijuana in the car, but it smells like marijuana in the car. All right, good. I've got everything listed off so far. Just making sure that we're on the same page.
That's what you're trying to tell me? Okay.
Well, it could be a valid story, or a fancy story. Of course, this particular drug is a bit of a different story over in the Netherlands. But guess what? You can't drive while doing the smoky bit. That's naughty, no matter where you go.
Right?
It also smells like marijuana in here because other people were in here smoking, but you weren't in here?
God damn it, I hate when random people just sit in my car and smoke without asking me if I want any.
Okay.
We gotta thank the officer for the play-by-play, because he did say it and I did understand it. But then again, I'm wearing rather fancy Sennheiser headphones, which would result in me understanding and hearing a lot more. So the good thing, the officer was here to tell us all the naughty bits.
And you do
Yes.
not have a medical marijuana card. Can you do me a favor? Turn the car off for me and hop out. Come right over here to the side of the street.
Honestly, sir, can I ask what that's for?
Yeah, because I'm about to talk to you more outside of the vehicle.
Can I ask why?
Can I ask why? Yeah, because your story doesn't make sense. Like, and not in the way of, you know, how some stories happen in your life and even you're like, none of this shit makes sense. Is this actually fucking happening to me? No. Not that way. No. Just like, it actually doesn't make sense.
Because I do not know if you're under the influence right now or not. So I'm going to talk to you more outside the vehicle. Number two, the car smells like marijuana, and you said that you do not have a medical marijuana card on you, or any way to prove that you have one. Okay? Number three, case law says that I can pull you out of the car for any reason.
Pennsylvania versus Mims.
Yep.
So I'm asking you. Okay, here's how this. Listen to me, man. Here's how this works. Whether you want to get out of the vehicle or not,
You're going to.
like I just said, case law backs me up on you getting out of the vehicle. So at one point or another during this stop,
You are
getting out of the vehicle.
You're gonna get out whether you want to or not. Someone should make
Whether
a song
that's-
like that.
Right now, complying and you getting out on your own free will, or us having to forcibly remove you.
Why are you not wanting to get out of the car, man?
Honestly, because I'm scared for my life right now.
Okay.
You're scared. Oh my god. I am so sick of hearing that bullshit. I am so sick of hearing that bullshit. As many bad police officers as there are, police are not hunting citizens down in the street. They're not. Alright? They're just not. So get the fuck out of the car.
There's no need to be. My partner, he wants to walk... Let me just finish, okay? He wants to walk you through these field sobriety tests. Because clearly he stopped you for a reason.
I'm really listening here. I'm gonna let you finish. But I gotta get some music if you're gonna go do that. Making me do work and shit.
By your driving behavior, whatever it was, we're trying to do our job to make sure you're not intoxicated. But you gotta get out of the car because we're giving you a lawful order to do that, okay?
You all have to understand that you are really, really stressing me out right now.
We're recording this whole time. We have to do this to see because it's nighttime, okay? So step out of the car.
Here's the thing. Listen
You
to
don't feel comfortable. Why? Because you know you're fucking... Because you know. I have a feeling.
I have a supervisor on the way. And like I just told you,
Can you wait until he gets here?
he's going to tell you the exact same thing I am. But here's the thing. You're obstructing my traffic stop right now, and you can go to jail for that. Okay? You're not complying with lawful orders. That is a crime. You can go to jail for that.
I am terrified for my life right now.
Why? It's a traffic stop. Do you plan on pulling a gun on the officers? Do you plan on leaping out and using deadly force? Because that's the only reason you should be terrified for your life right now. Just saying.
You stopped me because I
The
didn't
cop's
have
like,
a seatbelt.
uh-huh, yep.
Why are you calling
terrified.
multiple officers? That's terrifying. You're an officer of the law.
Yep.
I'm a single man sitting in my vehicle
Okay?
by myself.
Okay.
The cop's like, uh-huh, yep, uh-huh, shut up. Because he's black and cops just
Sorry
want
to hear that,
murder
mate.
him.
I mean,
Yes,
there's apps for
apparently.
that. Or you can go to the local pub or bar. You know, there's ways around being a single man
Yep.
in a car. Was that what you meant? I think that's what he meant. Right, Cow? Indeed.
I understand that you say that my vehicle smells like marijuana, and I told you the reason that my vehicle smells like marijuana. Did I not?
Yeah, and it doesn't make sense, dude. It doesn't make any sense. Did your friends smoke and then go... And then go, peace?
Yeah, you did. But you also don't have a medical marijuana card on you.
Because I'm not the one.
Number two, I don't know that. Which is another reason that I'm pulling you out of the car so I can investigate that further. Because right now,
Okay, but here's the thing.
As a stressed
So,
out person,
I know, but you're making this worse for yourself, okay? So
You
we
really
always send,
are.
let me just answer your questions. We always send 2 officers here when we're about to investigate further, okay? It's for our safety, not even in regard to our fear for you or what you're gonna do, okay? It is by policy we're supposed to do that, okay? So you are really making this worse. We don't want to charge you with obstruction, but you're not getting out of the car.
And she sounds tiny. Like... How my brain just broke. How is he afraid for his life with one dude who doesn't sound that big and a chick that sounds tiny?
I get that, but I have a question. If that is the case, why would y'all not ride together?
Well, he's got you there, officers. He's got you there. In this day and age, how come you guys are not carpooling? What's your carbon footprint, officer?
Yeah.
that's not
You
how this works, man.
environmental
You can ask all the
bastards.
questions you want, but you're just making this worse for yourself by not complying. Okay? I don't want to take you to jail for obstruction, but if you do not get out of the car, it might happen. I'm giving you a lawful order to get out of the car. You're not complying with that lawful order.
I understand that, but I also have to let y'all know that I'm terrified.
Okay,
for my
just
You've
do me
already
a favor and
said
turn the
that.
car off.
I can do that. Like,
Yep, please turn the car off, okay?
I'll turn
You
the car off.
you've said you're terrified like 8 billion times. You still don't have a reason.
Take the keys out. I'm not gonna go anywhere. I just need y'all to know that I really don't consent to doing the field sobriety test because I am terrified for my life right now, and I'm shaking up so much just because y'all are
Shut
here.
up. You
Okay.
don't
Sonny-
consent to a field sobriety test because you're scared? That's dumb.
Lights in my face. I know y'all have weapons. I know y'all are both scared for your life. I'm terrified for my life.
Well, it seems to be the problem. These officers are being extremely nice. They actually gave you multiple chances to follow orders, but now you're gonna hide behind the fact that you are under duress. Allegedly. When all these officers did is, hold you to your own damn actions. What would that be? Is that the consequences of your actions? Oh no, say it ain't so.
Oh, god damn it, not the consequences. Jesus Christ. What the hell is wrong with people? It's a traffic stop. Just yes sir, no sir, whatever, right? Like, or you could like if you really have to, just don't smoke in the car. Just don't smoke in the car.
Are you some kind
That's
of
simple.
sovereign citizen? I have never seen one of those. Right, cow?
I just want to go.
Right. Yeah.
And that's completely fine, but you're not leaving this traffic stop.
I understand that, but I just...
You're making it worse for
I
yourself.
understand that, but I still
like I
just
said,
want to go home.
You are not complying with a lawful order. That is called obstruction. You are obstructing the investigation of my traffic stop. I do not know if you are way too impaired to drive this car or not, which is why I want to talk to you out on the side of off the road, so I can investigate this further.
That seems reasonable. Annoying, but reasonable.
Your car smells like marijuana. If you don't consent to it, that's on you. I'm having to go off of what I'm observing right now, okay? And here's what I'm observing. Your car smells like marijuana. You don't have a medical marijuana card on you. You have no way to prove that you have a medical marijuana card. Mm-hmm. Okay? I don't know if you've been smoking, taking edibles, or not.
This cop is so patient. He's so patient. Like, he has explained this now like 5 times to this guy in the calmest way, and this guy's still like, I'm terrified.
Which is why I want to investigate further outside of the vehicle. I've gave you numerous commands, politely, to
Right?
get out of the car.
I wouldn't
And
even
you're
have called
not
them
getting out of the car.
commands at
That
this
is a
point.
crime. You can go to jail for obstruction.
I'm sorry, but I am going to wait until your supervisor gets here before I leave.
I don't...
That doesn't matter, dude. The supervisor's just gonna tell him to drag you out of the car.
I'm sorry, but I am going to wait until your supervisor gets here before I leave.
I don't think he's getting what you're putting down, officer. I
Nope.
mean, you told him multiple times it is a crime not to follow these orders, but apparently the word crime means something else in his world.
Any more decisions? Is that okay?
No.
That's on you. If
Yeah,
you
right?
want
That's that. He's like, is that okay? The cop's like, whatever you want to do, dude. It's not. I'm on salary. I don't care.
press that issue,
I don't really want to press
But that's what you're doing.
But you
I'm
are
scared for my life
pressing
right
the
now. I
issue.
hope y'all
Why are you so scared for your life?
You literally are right now.
That has nothing to do with anything.
You say that, but I've seen too much on the news.
yeah, you're watching too much news and too many social media accounts.
You say that, sir, but
Okay.
I also have studied history, and I've taken the history of the fact that this force was literally started as a force to stop slaves.
Okay.
And that is something.
Of what?
Too much news and too many social media accounts.
You say that, sir, but
Okay.
I also have studied history, and I've taken the history of the fact that this force was literally started as a force to stop slaves.
Okay.
The police force was a force literally to started to stop slaves. Are you telling me that there were no sheriffs before the Civil War started? And what? Are you trying to tell me that law enforcement was solely started for the purpose to stop slaves from running away? That's the only reason law enforcement existed? Is that really what you're okay? All right.
Okay.
And that is something that has been institutionalized in
Yeah.
this police force.
Oh, great, he's a conspiracy theorist. And a sovereign citizen, in a way. I mean, he kinda did a checkmark or list of idiocy. Let's see where this is going. I mean, it seems he still doesn't realize he is actually committing a crime right now by not getting out of the bloody car.
I'm sorry, what? Right? you're not wrong.
Because he wants to play stupid games to win stupid prizes. And so he gets to the finals.
To go after minorities, and I'm not saying that that is y'all.
Yes. Law enforcement was specifically started to stop slaves from running away and to target minorities. That's why all the white people kept getting arrested too, right?
Department. I'm saying that that's something that I've noticed over a period of time, the entirety of our time.
Oh my god.
Okay, that's your opinion. Okay, that's your opinion. You're entitled to that. But we have given you absolutely no reason
No,
to
of
be
course
afraid
they
for
were
your life.
used to
Okay.
round up runaway slaves, but to say that they were started specifically to keep slaves from running away, that's silly.
We're talking to you with verbal calm voices.
Because we know there's been constabulary and law enforcement of some kind, even within like tribes forever, right? How do we keep each other in check, right? That's just
all we're
silly.
asking you to do
He's
is step out and
studied
do this field
history,
sobriety
and
test
yet he
so we
says
can
that
send you
shit.
on your way and get you out of here. We can't allow you to leave until we investigate that further, okay? So like my partner has said numerous times, is
Right,
you're just making it
just-
worse on yourself. You're gonna get charged with
Just
obstruction
let
if you
them
don't
do
get
their
out.
job.
And we don't want to do that, okay?
I understand that, but I also am like, I'm literally shaking.
But you're not.
Yes. Yes.
I was gonna say that. Hey, let's do a zoom in on his hand. Zoom in and
Hail
hands.
Hydra.
Let's see how shaky this non.
Wait, what happened? What did I miss?
I'm literally shaking.
I'm literally shaking right now.
But you're not.
But you're not. I love this cop. He's like, yeah, you're not shaking. No, you're not.
I was gonna say that. Hey, let's do a zoom in on his hand. Zoom in and hands. Let's see how shaky this non-shaky man is. Also, Mr. Man, if your conspiracy holds any truth, they would have, ripped you out of the car and beat your dumb ass.
Right?
That didn't happen. So stop playing the little victim. Follow the orders of the officer and don't commit a crime.
They literally they would not have just pulled him out of the car. They would have wrenched the door open and fucking
it's real simple. After carefully scrutinizing the evidence, there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of shaking going on.
A supervisor being here is going to change anything. Our demeanor is going to be the exact same.
And I understand that, but me personally, I would feel more comfortable with the supervisor.
You would feel more. Wait, you're scared that there are two police there, but you would feel more comfortable with a third. How does that make sense? Does anyone know?
Okay, he's here, but you were complaining about having multiple cops on a traffic stop, and now you have more cops on a traffic stop.
Thank
You
you.
realize how that works?
Why?
Thank you. Him and I are on the same page.
And she explained that to you.
Cops in the first place.
Because I'm pulling you out of the car,
Exactly.
and that's how we work.
And that makes sense, which is why I would like your supervisor to be here, because I'm confused as to why.
No. Let me fix that for you. You're not confused. You're a disingenuous little twat. That's what you are. Just out here for your little power trip. You know what we call people like that? Pathetic. Take some responsibility for your actions.
It's even escalated this far in the first place.
They escalated it. Really? How? How did they... I'm sorry, who was the one that said that law enforcement was specifically created to keep slaves enslaved?
Hey, dumbass! Dumbass, you listening? Dumbass? Hey, you're the one escalating the situation. For fuck's sake, man, we have a generation of this. How did we allow this to happen?
Because you're not getting out of the car.
I don't know, officer. I think the situation is a bit more broad than just people not getting out of the car. But hey, I understand the context of that, and I'm just taking you completely out of context. And, well, there I go.
Okay. All right, so here's the thing. Car smells like weed. He doesn't have a medical marijuana card. I don't know if he's impaired or not. And now he's refusing to get out of the car.
And he's also refusing to brain.
He's also refusing to brain. Oh, Radical.
So I gave him numerous commands. If he wants to go to jail for
Very
obstruction,
polite commands,
then we will
too.
forcibly remove him from the car at some point if he doesn't if he continues this.
Yeah.
So I called you over here, and now he's going into. He's studied police departments and how they were made for slaves and everything else. So
The supervisor's like, oh my god. He wants, oh god. Oh god. The image, cannibalistic wizard.
Maybe.
The image.
you can talk him into getting out of the car, maybe not.
There is no reason right now for you to be scared, okay? My partner's been nothing but calm and explaining everything that we're doing.
He really has. Like, super
And I understand
calm.
some of the things you see on the news. It may make you believe that that's how the police work and operate. That is not the case, okay? We have to do this because when we smell something like that...
Hey, Kai? Alright, what seems to be the issue?
What's going on here, idiot? What's the matter? What's wrong with you?
Well, sir, I just don't consent to doing the field sobriety test at this point in time.
Okay, that's fine. You don't have to do the field sobriety test, but by the Constitution and by the Supreme Court ruling, if an officer orders you out of the vehicle, you have to get out of the car. You don't have a choice. Whether you do the field sobriety test or not, that's totally up to you, okay? But if you decide not to get out of the car, you're coming out of the car either way. It's your choice, whether you do it without force or whether you do it with force. So, it's your choice.
Okay, well, after I exit the vehicle, what does that mean?
Well, he's going to interview you and talk to you some more outside of the vehicle. For one, right now, we can smell weed in the car, and I can smell it really strong standing right here. You've
I
already
can
said
also
you don't-
see it.
I love this cop. I love this cop. Oh my god, he's the best. He is the best. He is so fucking deadpan.
Well, how did you manage to do that, officer? You just entered his private conveyance with your eyeballs. You know, you can't just enter the rowboat captain's vessel with your eyeballs. That is against all the rules of the sovereign shittery laws. Yes, I did say sovereign shittery, because that's exactly what it is.
You've already said you don't have a medical marijuana card, so there's a violation right there. Okay, so we're going to deal with that. He's going to interview you
I
outside
can
the car
also
to see if
see
you're
it. I love
impaired
that.
or under the influence of the marijuana, and then we'll deal with that. But regardless, I'm not going to debate with you. Either get out of the car or you're going to be pulled out of the car, and that's right now. Okay? Let's go. Out of the car.
Come on. No, he's told you to get out of the car.
Oh, now he's gonna
Unbuckle
put
your-
his seatbelt
Yes,
on.
unbuckle your seatbelt.
Unbuckle your seatbelt.
Come on out.
Now he's putting on his seatbelt. And why do I hear a small child?
You don't need
Leave it. You're fine.
don't need 'em.
Leave your stuff.
Kai, get out.
Small child, go to
Hey,
bed.
we are recording right here. You can request our body cam footage. Get out.
I'm getting out, I'm getting out.
Get out.
Turns out of everything he just heard, the mom voice is the most powerful one, hmm? Just
Yup. Hooray for the mom voice. Just get out.
treat them like disobedient children, because, well, that would be an insult to disobedient children. At least they have a future. These grown-ass man babies, they are a lost cause.
Right over here. Not quite sure why you're trying to make this so difficult.
I can give you an explanation, officer.
They're eating her. And then they're going to eat me.
Was that a Power Rangers clip? That sounded like a Power Rangers clip.
So, do you have any weapons on you?
There's a weapon in my...
What do you have?
It's a Beretta.
You have a gun. Is that why you're being so
A Beretta,
non-compliant?
did he say?
Yeah, because you have a gun. You're talking about how we have guns and we're scaring you, yet you have one around your waist.
Oh, shit. Huh. You dumb fuck. Have I ever heard of the incredible Japanese prison break? I'm scared to answer that question.
How does that make any sense? Do you have any other weapons on you besides what was in that pack?
Oh, the
I'm talking
knives.
on you. Gee, you're making this way more difficult than what it needs to be. I told you this, my lieutenant told you this. Case law, Pennsylvania v. Mims.
Oh my god, he said the thing! He said the thing! Go! He said the thing!
You'll do what now? Oh, okay. Small child, go to bed.
Yeah.
Look it up whenever you're done with this traffic stop. If an officer tells you to get out of the car during a traffic stop, you have to get out. It's a lawful order. You didn't want to get out?
If it's the one I'm thinking of, Oki Native, it's probably what, the Kento Bento Miso Soup Escape? Is that the one you're talking about?
Wanna bet he's prohibited from carrying a gun? Oh, probably.
Out? That's an obstruction charge. I can see the marijuana under your seat.
I
don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what
I don't know what you're talking about. Watch. It's like at least, I bet you it's at least a quarter ounce.
Yeah, good cover. That is certainly gonna fly well in court. Or not. I'm gonna go with or not. He just went flat earther on us. Argumentum ad naa.
Of course you don't. Number three, you're carrying a gun, and how old are you?
Sorry, I'm not.
You're 20, and you have a handgun. Where'd you get it?
It was a gift from my grandfather. It was for protection.
A gift from your grandpa. That's what you're going with? It's a gift from your grandpa. Okay.
For protection. You know how old you have to be to carry a handgun? And you're 20. So you're breaking all sorts of laws, and you're trying to put the blame on us. You are.
Yeah, you
didn't want to get out of the car. All X, Y, and Z. All of your excuses that you've given. Absolutely ridiculous. Whenever you're breaking numerous laws. So here's where we're at. Currently. Numerous things I could take you to jail for. I also believe you're probably under the influence.
What do you mean, sir?
Because your car reeks of weed. I can see all the weed. And your pupils appear to be a little bit dilated whenever light is shined on them.
See, that's the one good thing about me having fake eyes. Except my eyes when I'm really stoned are all like teary and shit, and I think the around here is puffy, but you can't dilate my pupils. Haha.
And they should constrict a little bit, which means one of numerous things.
Biology. The eyes are the windows into the soul. In this case, the windows into the lies.
That is in your body. I would assume marijuana. So, I would like to run you through some field sobriety tests. I will check your eyes. You'll walk in a straight line. You'll stand on one foot. If I need to proceed with further tests, we'll do that. So would you mind doing that?
As I said before.
As I said before, I'm too
So can you
scared
stick
to
your
do
tongue out?
this.
Okay, here's what we're gonna do then. Turn around.
I told you I had these nippies.
You're under arrest.
Wait, hold up. This man has been standing like his hands has been cuffed, and now he's actually getting cuffed. Is this? Yeah, okay, he's he is very far gone, huh? He actually thought he
Wow.
already had the handcuffs on. That is special.
That's hilarious.
That's what we're gonna do then. Turn around.
I told you I had these nippies.
That's hilarious.
You're under arrest.
He already had his hands behind his Jesus Christ. That's funny.
And we'll go from there. How's that sound? Sound good?
Can I make the call to my lawyer?
Nope. Back
Nope.
over here.
Not
Once you
till
get
you're
to
in
the jail, after you're done with processing, then you can make your phone calls.
Well, holy hell, you can't write this shit. I mean, He delivered the evidence on a silver platter? Really? Is he taking the piss?
Wait,
He must be taking the
wait.
piss. That is...
Seriously?
A surefire way to get yourself some charges in the form of DUI, carrying a weapon while boozing, obstruction, and double possession of shedded substances that was delivered on a silver platter.
That's funny.
You bloody dick flute.
That's hilarious.
Bye-bye. What do you mean under duress? I'm not under duress, I'm under arrest.
I'm literally
That's hilarious. That is absolutely hilarious. Like, that, oh man. That is too funny. That's too funny. Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna quickly go to the be right back screen so I can grab the other video. Okay. Let's see if this is the video that Okie Native is talking about. Or the escape that Okie Native is talking about. The Incredible Japanese Prison Break. Yeah, is that the one you're talking about? Okie Native? Let me just go close the Twitter DMs here. There we go. Where am I? There we go. Okay. Let's learn about this. Because I have not heard about this. Okay.
This video is made possible by Dashlane. Download Dashlane for free if you never want to forget another password again at the link in the description. Aomori, Japan, 1936. Prisoner Yoshie Shiratori had had enough. He was forced to confess to a murder he did not commit, falsely imprisoned in Aomori prison, beaten and tortured every night by prison guards, and now worse.
Pardon? Oh, oops. There we go.
This video is made possible by Dashlane. Download Dashlane for enough. He was forced to confess to a murder he did not commit, falsely imprisoned in Aomori prison, beaten and tortured every night by prison guards, and now worse, prosecutors were seeking the death penalty.
Oh,
in his
lovely.
mind, it was time to go. But Aomori prison wasn't the easiest to escape. Regardless, Yoshie Shiratori had nothing to lose, and so at 5:30 a.m. he made his move.
Is this creator also Japanese? Because it sounds like he's at least speaks Japanese.
He knew there would be a 15-minute gap in the patrol time, as he had studied the guard's routine for months. And when the coast was clear, he pulled out a metal wire which he had smuggled in from the bathhouse and started to pick the lock.
Oh,
this was
wow.
originally the metal support ring that was wrapped around the bathing buckets inmates used to wash themselves.
Oh, so he took the bucket holder off and I guess unwound it or uncurled it.
His hands were stiff from the wintry cold, but after a few minutes of picking, he had success, and his cell door swung open. But
Nice.
he wasn't out of the woods yet, because there were more locked doors ahead. He knew he only had a few minutes left before the guards would return, and so he wasted no time attempting to pick his way through the remaining security doors.
Jesus Christ. Could you imagine the tension? You're trying to pick through, like, door after door with a fucking wire?
Now, fortunately for him, he was able to make it out of the facility, but the bad news was that he was only halfway to freedom. You see, he was still well within the search perimeter, which meant at any moment the alarm could go off and he'd still be caught. At 5:45 a.m.,
Terrifying.
the guards returned, peering into his cell, and this is what they saw. Shiratori sound asleep in his futon bed.
Oh, you did the classic stuff the sheets with clothes and shit.
But of course, what they didn't realize was that they were looking at something else. A pile of loose floorboards underneath his duvet designed to trick them.
Oh,
it wasn't
smart.
until the next morning that they finally discovered the truth and the alarm
Floorboards.
was sounded. But by then, Shiratori was long gone.
Wow.
Now, he had escaped, but if you've watched any of our previous videos, you'll know that things aren't always as they seem. In fact, for Yoshie Shiratori, aka the prison break magician, this was only the the beginning. 3 days later, he was caught trying to steal supplies from a hospital.
Oh, that sucks. No. Why do you need to steal well, I guess he was probably hungry and probably got hurt.
And just like that, he was back in the slammer. But this time, for his escape attempt, he was sentenced to life in prison. He would never be with his family again, his wife and his daughter. And all the months of planning had led to just 3 days of freedom. It now seemed
Are we back on the correct screen because of the delay?
Be locked up for a very long time. 6 years later, in 1942, in the midst of the Second World War, Shiratori found himself transferred to Akita prison in Akita City. There, the guards treated him even worse than in Aomori. They had heard about Shiratori's previous escape and were determined to make an example out of him.
Cause you know that's what's great about humans and other humans. You know, you torture a human. They prove to you that you can't break them by escaping, and they're like, well, I just clearly wasn't cruel enough to you. Haha.
They wanted to make sure he would never escape again. Along with the usual beatings, he was forced to partake in extreme manual labor, made to sleep on the hard concrete floor in the severe winter cold, and placed into solitary confinement for extended periods of time. Now, this was a specially made solitary confinement cell, which was very small and had a very high ceiling, with the walls covered with copper sheets so smooth that it was impossible to grip. In addition, there was almost no sunlight even in the daytime, with the only window light coming from a small sealed skylight high above.
That's horrible. Like, could you imagine the vitamin deficiency like that would be making you extra like mentally deficient and just physically oh my god.
This was a room designed to keep escape artists from escaping, and if that wasn't enough, the guards also made sure that Shiratori was handcuffed at all times.
Jesus.
Now, despite the constant abuse, one of the guards, Kobayashi, in fact the head guard, took pity on him. Kobayashi never laid a finger and even seemed to check up on him from time to time, concerned for his well-being. Perhaps this made life a little more bearable for Shiratori, and it might have even been what kept his will alive all the way to the night of June 15th.
Well, that's the thing, because even in the midst of absolute cruelty, there are going to be people that are like, this is fucked up. I may not be able to like completely fix this, but I can at least do something.
It was a stormy night, and Shiratori was in the middle of one of his extended stays in solitary confinement. At around midnight, one of the guards peered into his cell and couldn't believe his eyes. He opened the cell door and looked around in astonishment, as Yoshie Shiratori had vanished into thin air. All that was left was his handcuffs.
Where did
so how did he do it? Well, there were a few assumptions the guards made that did not apply to Shiratori. For one, handcuffs simply didn't work on him. Shiratori was actually a master of getting out of handcuffs, and in fact had several methods to choose from. Here, he decided to go with the familiar lock-picking method, but he really could have gone with any of them. He had thoroughly scoured his surroundings to find anything that could be of use in an escape, and just like in Aomori prison, he was able to uncover a loose bit of wire.
So he's a freaking Japanese Houdini, this guy.
Perhaps it was from one of the items Kobayashi brought him, but this wasn't clear. After freeing himself from the cuffs, he placed his palms and soles of his feet on the smooth copper sheets and started climbing the unclimbable wall. It turned out Shiratori was also an expert climber, with an uncanny ability to scale like a lizard. Once he reached the skylight above, he noticed that, yes, the window was sealed.
What'd he do? What did he do? Have extra long toes or something like that?
The wooden framing around it was starting to rot. And so thereafter, night after night, when the guards weren't looking, he'd climb the copper walls and loosen the framing, bit by bit.
That's crazy.
Afterwards, he'd climb back down and place the handcuffs back on, as to not rouse suspicion.
Good for him.
After a couple months, the window finally came loose, and from there, it was just about choosing the right day. He waited until a particular stormy night, so the guards wouldn't hear the footsteps on the roof. And that was it. He had escaped from prison again. Now this time, he wouldn't be caught. Or at least, not in the way you'd expect. 3 months later, on September 18th, the head guard, Kobayashi, was at home when he heard a knock on the door. To his surprise, it was the fugitive Yoshie Shiratori, unkempt and disheveled. and he needed a favor. A stunned Kobayashi took him in and fed him, all the while listening to what he had to say.
Oh wow, well, that takes balls. Like risking that this head guard wouldn't say, I know I took pity on you, but for the honor of my employment and my family, I have to turn you in.
Shiratori explained that he didn't actually mind being in prison, and that the only reason he escaped twice now was due to the tremendous abuse he suffered at the hands of the sadistic guards. Kobayashi, however, was the only one who treated him with any amount of respect, and so he felt he owed it to him to let him in on his grand plan. Now, this plan involved Shiratori willingly, yes, handing himself over to the Justice Department, where he could then personally make a case for how corrupt and barbaric the Japanese prison system was.
Oh, damn! That's kind of ingenious, actually.
And there needed to be reform. He wanted to campaign for change, and in the process, gain his legal freedom through a civil lawsuit.
Wow.
He felt this was the only way he could realistically end up with his family. This, of course, was a super ambitious plan, and as a fugitive on the run, he was well aware of that, which is why he needed Kobayashi, the well-respected head guard of Akita prison, to vouch for him, to strengthen his credibility. As the only guard who ever treated him right, he had a feeling Kobayashi would do the right thing. Minutes later, while Shiratori was in the toilet, Kobayashi called the police.
Oh.
Maybe not a great plan. Just like that, Shiratori was back in prison, and this time, he vowed never to trust an officer of the law again. For the second escape, the courthouse added 3 more years to his life sentence. Now, Shiratori requested to be sent to a Tokyo prison, where the weather was warmer, as he couldn't stand the cold in the northern prisons. His previous stints had weakened him severely, but he was denied his request. Instead, the judge sentenced him to the infamous Abashiri prison in Hokkaido, the northernmost prison in Japan. No man had ever escaped from this wintry hellhole of a prison. It was now 1943, and the cold was unbearable in Abashiri, as the temperature in the cells was below freezing point. Whenever inmates received their prison food, the miso soup and soy sauce would often freeze up.
Jesus Christ. That's insane. Now, like the master lock of...
In this temperature, a handcuffed Shiratori was thrown into an open cell in summer clothing, and he immediately felt the paralyzing sting of cold air. Perhaps in a fit of desperation, he tried to force himself past the guards, but they were able to push him back and beat him down. An enraged and defiant Shiratori stood back up and vowed that he would escape from Abashiri prison, like he's always done, and that there was nothing they could do about it. In fact, he claimed there was little point even putting handcuffs on him, as he'd always find a way to break free. If not by lockpicking, then, well, this. He then proceeded to rip apart the chain of his handcuffs, to the horror of the guards.
Holy shit! He ripped his cuffs apart? Holy crap! This guy's insane. I can almost see where, the more I learn about different people in history like this, the more I kind of see the amalgamation of historical figures that Douglas Preston and Lincoln Child borrowed from to create Agent Pendergast. I really do.
It turned out Shiratori had another special ability. Aside from his outstanding climbing abilities, he also possessed incredible strength, almost superhuman strength. Back in Akita prison, he could have broken free of the cuffs the physical way if he didn't have to put them back on. Now, this was impressive, but it wasn't so smart to lay his cards on the table like that, as the guards were starting to build an escape profile on him. They knew he had lockpicking abilities, lizard-like climbing abilities, and now almost superhuman strength. And so they set out to devise the ultimate escape-proof cell, one that was sure to be Shiratori-proof. And they came up with this.
And they had to do this, like a similar thing with Ted Bundy because of his escapes. They had to basically put him in a box that was lined with sheet metal and the sheet metal was riveted and everything.
The new cell had steel fixtures with a low chance of rot. Any openings, even the bars removed, were made smaller than his body, meaning there was no way he could physically fit through. He had specially made solid iron handcuffs that tied his hands behind his back, and leg cuffs that made him barely able to stand. These cuffs weighed 20 kgs each and had no keyhole, which meant they could not be lockpicked. And the only way they could be removed was by 2 metalwork specialists who would come once every few weeks to remove them in an arduous 2-hour process. Wow. It was at this point, and only this point, that he could even take a bath. And he certainly needed one, as weeks of being shackled up with no movement meant his cuff wounds were infested with maggots.
Ooh, God, oh my God. How do you not get fucking gangrene and shit? Oh my God. That is crazy.
On top of that, and as cold as it had already been, it wasn't even peak winter yet. Any strength he would have left would surely be nullified by the upcoming freeze. Though just in case, they still made sure to cut his already meager food portions in half. And so that was it. Even for Shiratori, this was too much. As winter came, he succumbed to his fate. Every day, the guards would slide his meal through the opening, and he'd be forced to grovel like a dog. His hand and leg cuffs made every action awkward and uncomfortable, with even sleeping being a pain. There was no doubt life in Abashiri prison was absolute torture. Now fast forward, Shiratori was somehow able to survive through the winter, and spring was coming. This meant he was starting to get his strength back. But still, what could he really do? He was literally in a bind. Months passed and, well, nothing seemed to happen. Then one night, in August, a guard in his office was doing some paperwork when he heard some shuffling on the roof.
Shuffling on the roof, huh? He probably just said, fuck it, I'm going with the cuffs on. I don't care.
He wasn't sure what it was, but he decided to check on the prisoners. As he looked inside Shiratori's inescapable cell, he was stunned. The futon bed and prison garments were neatly folded up. The specially made 20 kg handcuffs and leg cuffs that would have required 2 specialists 2 hours to remove was placed on the side, and Shiratori was nowhere to be seen.
He dislocated himself. I guarantee you he fucking dislocated something.
He had finally fulfilled his promise to the guards. The alarm immediately sounded, but despite the work of the search party, it seemed he had truly disappeared. But how on earth did this happen? How did he escape from the fortress that was Abashiri prison? Well, preparation had started 6 months earlier. At the time, he didn't have the strength or stamina to mount any sort of escape, not to mention the restraints he was in.
He had the plan. He had time to plan, though. I guarantee you that.
But one thing he did have was time and patience.
Yep.
Every day, the guards would slide his meal through, and while he struggled to eat his food off the floor, he always made sure to save a little bit of the miso soup in the corner. You see, every night, he would hobble awkwardly to the inspection window and splash a little of it on the steel frame. He would also dab some on his handcuffs and leg cuffs. Now, his intention was for the salt content of the miso soup to oxidize the screws and bolts,
Oh, what a smart guy.
eventually corroding and loosening it. After a month, this technique of rusting through the iron actually worked, and the first screw came out. The next few months saw screws and bolts coming loose, assisted by the use of the first screw as a sort of screwdriver. By the end of spring, he was able to fully remove his handcuffs and leg cuffs, as well as the steel frame of the inspection window. But there was a problem. The size of the opening was smaller than his body, which meant he couldn't fit through, a contingency thought out by the guards.
Yep.
What they didn't account for, though, was Shiratori's fourth ability,
Maggots, clean
which involved
wounds.
being able to dislocate his joints at will.
Ooh.
With this, he was now able to slide through the opening like a caterpillar. This
Jesus Christ, he fucking... Ugh. Oh,
repertoire of
my
skills, thus surely
God.
making him an honorary member of the X-Men. With that, he climbed through a broken window in the roof and vanished. Impressively, Shiratori had now escaped from 3 prisons, as well as being the only man to ever escape Abashiri prison. Now, good on him for escaping, but this was northern Hokkaido, and the only direction he
where's
could
he
have
going?
gone to was the cold, snowy mountains. Actually, the prison guards felt that they had the last laugh, because if the cold didn't get him, the mountain bears certainly would.
Yeah, Yeah, see, that's the problem. How are you going to get past all the wildlife?
Despite this likelihood, there was one person who stayed hopeful, and that was Shiratori's wife. But she was still worried, because even if he was alive, she knew he wouldn't be able to make it back to his family, as the authorities would be constantly on his tail.
Yeah.
Which is why she was desperately and secretly hoping that Japan would lose the war, as that would enable the US to take over the country.
Interesting. Wow. She actually wanted Japan to lose. Wow.
Meaning everyone would likely forget about her husband. Of course, she kept this to herself.
Yeah.
But then, a year later, in August 1945, she got her wish.
Mm-hmm. The 2 nuclear bombs.
The Americans had now taken over the country's penitentiary system, and sweeping changes were being made. And it did seem, perhaps, that the manhunt for Yoshie Shiratori had now taken a back seat. Yet the question remained, where was he? And was he even alive? The answer was yes, he was alive.
Holy shit!
And living a solitary life. This time, self-imposed. It turned out he had discovered an abandoned mine on a mountainside in the Hokkaido wilderness.
Haha! And it's interesting because mine shafts, you can actually, if it's deep enough, they can get pretty warm.
And was able to make a home for himself. For food, he lived off nuts and berries, wild rabbits and raccoons, and was even able to learn to catch crabs from a stream by observing the habits of bears. Life was steady and safe. But after a while, curiosity got the better of him. And so after 2 years of isolation, he made his way down the mountain to a nearby village. What he saw astounded him. The streets were filled with signs written in English. The posters and flags, emblematic of the war effort, had vanished. And even more strange, young Japanese girls were holding hands with American soldiers. What on earth was going on? He grabbed a newspaper that had been set aside, flipped through the pages, and it was only then that he found out about the atomic bombs, Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Oh shit, he was in so much isolation, he had no idea. I have a friend that can do that with some of her joints. It's creepy.
Japan had surrendered the previous year, and he couldn't believe it. As with his wife, he felt it was now pointless to hide, and so bid farewell to his old hunter-gatherer lifestyle. He headed south of Abashiri for the next 50 days, until he reached the city of Sapporo. At this point, he was starving, so he found himself a nice ripe tomato from a nearby field, which was a huge mistake. A farmer had spotted him and mistook him for a well-known local thief, which led to a scuffle, resulting in the farmer's abdomen being pierced by a blade. Sadly, he bled out and died, but not before Shiratori was arrested for the crime. It wasn't long until police found out that they in fact had the infamous Yoshie Shiratori in their custody. For his multiple escapes and having now murdered the farmer, despite his claims of self-defense, he was sentenced to death by the district court of Sapporo. And in 1947, he was sent to Sapporo prison to await execution. Now, to ensure he wouldn't escape this time while on death row, he was placed under 24-hour surveillance, with 6 armed guards personally assigned to his watch.
God damn, that's so sad. That is so sad. He escaped and... Ugh. My shoulder hurts. Well, Pinkala's shoulder...
As for the cell itself, it was upgraded further from the one in Abashiri prison, with reinforced doors, ceilings, bars, windows. In fact, any openings were made smaller than the size of his head, not just his body, learning from the Abashiri escape. As while he may be able to dislocate his joints, he certainly can't dislocate his skull. No. As long as his head can't fit, they were good. The 6 guards were so confident, in fact, that they didn't even bother cuffing him. Now, Shiratori was getting old, and the odds of escaping by this point were looking slim. As his execution loomed near, there was little he could really do, and the guards knew that. They could see the desperation on his face, looking up, searching for an escape plan that they knew would never come. Yeah. Though, still, just in case, they made sure to search his room every night while he was taking a bath.
I feel bad for this guy, because at first he actually was innocent, and then he escaped twice, and then he was just hungry, and he was trying to defend himself and
in the
this
bathhouse,
is so
inspecting the
sad.
ceiling, skylight, and any other openings. A month passed, and winter was now coming, weakening him further, and the realization was starting to dawn on him. He grew increasingly despondent, staying in bed, refusing to wake up, despite the orders of the guards. This went on for a while, until one morning, the guards had enough and entered the cell to discipline him. They flipped over the duvet, and
He's gone.
he was gone.
How long was he gone for?
This was not possible. How did he do it?
How
this
long
time?
was he gone for? I
Going
wonder?
back to when he was first placed under 24-hour surveillance with the 6 armed guards personally assigned to his watch. He had in fact conditioned them to look up and keep up from the very start. Not just because his previous escape attempts involved climbing through skylight windows on ceilings, but also his suspicious yet, as it turned out, very intentional behavior of constantly looking up to figure out an escape plan.
What a fuck! This guy is a 4-dimensional chess player. Holy fuck. This guy is crazy.
Little did they know, it was all an act, and that he
dug
already
his way
had
out.
one, but it would be taking place precisely where they weren't looking. You see, it turned out the authorities were so concerned with him escaping through a window or skylight that they neglected to reinforce the bottom. This ironically ended up being his easiest and simplest escape, because all he had to do was remove the bolted floorboards, which wasn't easy, but he had experience, and using random cutlery and a miso soup bowl, dig his way to freedom. This took over a month, and he was able to hide his activities due to A, the guards not suspecting this approach, and B, the floorboard panels being put back in place every night after digging. The 6 guards thought they were keeping a good eye on him even at night, but with the hole consistently positioned underneath the futon and duvet, and it increasingly becoming the norm to refuse the orders of the guards to wake up, nothing seemed out of the ordinary.
This is great. This is amazing. Go him.
Placing a pile of loose floorboards
This is
underneath
awesome.
the duvet to trick them was also a callback to his first prison escape in Aomori. So he had now escaped from prison 4 times, and by this point, the story is starting to get ridiculous. But this perpetual cycle of capture and escape was about to end, because a year later, in 1948, Shiratori was exhausted. He was in his 40s now, and this was a young man's game. One day, in the Kotoni neighborhood, still in Sapporo, as he stopped to rest, a policeman just happened to sit by his side for a smoke. He didn't know who Shiratori was, but he struck up a conversation with him. Shiratori, of course, was wary of his presence and tried to play it cool, all the while attempting to figure out a way to remove himself from the situation without being suspicious. Suddenly, the policeman did something unexpected, at least to him. He pulled out another cigarette and offered it to him. Shiratori was stunned. You see, cigarettes were expensive luxury items in Japan at the time, and the fact that someone offered it to him just out of the kindness of his heart brought tears to his eyes.
Aww. That's so sad.
Not to mention, all his life he had been abused and mistreated by officers of the law, with even the head guard Kobayashi turning his back on him. And here was an instance of an officer treating him kindly, with respect, and with no prejudgment. As he smoked the cigarette, Shiratori couldn't help but tell the officer his full name, Yoshie Shiratori, and that he had escaped from Sapporo prison last year. In fact, he had escaped from prison 4 times in his life. It was strangely a relief to get it all off his chest, and he was even ready for the consequences. After the Kobayashi incident, he had vowed never to trust another officer of the law again. But the simple act of receiving a cigarette from a stranger broke him.
That's, yeah. It's crazy how you can just put up with such crap, but then something nice just throws you.
Of course, he was arrested again, but this time, things were different. Maybe it was the fact that he willingly gave himself up, or that Japan's justice system was going through a change. But the High Court of Sapporo became sympathetic to Shiratori's plight, and some of his past claims were recognized, such as acknowledging the farmer's death as a legitimate case of self-defense.
Oh,
He
good.
also made note that throughout all 4 of his prison escapes, he didn't kill or injure a single guard, despite the abuse he may have suffered at their hands. At the end of the deliberation, the High Court dismissed the murder charge, revoking his death sentence, and instead sentenced him to just 20 years in prison. Further, they approved his request to be transferred to a Tokyo prison, where the weather was warmer. He was getting what he wanted. In Tokyo, he was sent to Fuchu prison, where, for the first time, the guards actually treated him well. It was a weird feeling. There were all these precautions and security measures in place to ensure that the infamous prison break magician wouldn't escape. But the truth was, Shiratori didn't really care anymore. Everything he'd been fighting against, the mistreatment from guards, the death penalty, even the northern climate.
Yeah, everything, all he wanted was to serve his prison time without being abused in a climate that he could handle.
Was no longer of concern, and he was at peace. There was no need to escape anymore. He finally accepted his punishment, and for the remainder of his sentence, acted as a model prisoner.
Yeah, probably.
Just 14 years later, in 1961, he was released on parole. And
Could
for the
you
first time
imagine
in a long
playing a game of Go with this guy? Like, holy
time,
fuck.
he was truly a free man. He decided to head back to Aomori, where it all began, and meet up with his daughter, who, by this point, unfortunately, was the only family member he had left. For his incredible escapes, Yoshie Shiratori became a legend, an anti-hero in Japan. But it was very much the opposite for the country's penitentiary system, which had somehow allowed him to escape time and time again. This was a national embarrassment for Japan.
I bet.
But just as preventing criminals from breaking out of the system is vital for the safety of society, so is preventing them from breaking into the system. Your system, that is. And for that, I'd personally recommend that. And autofills them on websites, individual app, and it's stolen. Okay,
that's actually kind of a good way of working in your sponsor plug there, Kento Bento. That was kind of good. I like that. I'm going to put up the Be Right Back screen and go to the washroom really quick, and then we will go to our other things. So, just a moment. Okay. Here we are. Right. Let's see. What do we do first? Do we do the dumbass Hassan thing first or the dumbass DSP thing first? Let's do this first. Okay. Let's see just how stupid Hassan sounds.
Yeah, I don't like that.
He said he wants to preempt a war against China.
He wants to like fight against China, but he also kind of wants to like leave Taiwan to China. It's like very weird. He has like a very weird foreign policy perspective on it.
Right.
The obviously like xenophobic anti-Chinese perspective is like shared commonly by the entire intelligence community, our State Department. Obviously, it's like American policy, but the whole like leave Taiwan.
Wait, it's American policy to be anti-Chinese? I thought it was like just look at what they're doing and be anti-Chinese government. 'Cause that's pretty much what's going on. Like nobody's actually running around hating on Chinese people. It's like unless they're actually just racist. Like it's the intelligence community is saying that it's the Chinese government that's the problem. It's not, they're not going like, "Oh, Chinese people are evil." Ah. Like really, Hassan? Okay.
First leave Taiwan alone and then give them all guns. Like make Taiwan like America where every person in Taiwan has a weapon.
How do we feel about Taiwan, Hassan? China or not
Taiwan?
China? Or is it China or not China?
That's the American policy. Whatever the American policy is, whatever the American perspective is.
What's your opinion? You really won't say?
No, I'm saying it's like one country, two systems. You know?
What?
No, it's not. It's two different countries.
What? What? It's one country, what?
Really?
Taiwan and China.
Is that according to American foreign policy?
No, what's your opinion?
According to an atlas, you moron.
What's your opinion? Taiwan independent?
My opinion on Taiwan is that Taiwan is the Chinese concept of Taiwan should remain in the hands of the people in Taiwan who
therefore it's independent.
Run that by me again, Hassan.
Is that Taiwan is the Chinese concept of Taiwan should remain in the hands of the people in Taiwan.
Just say I don't know. Just say I don't know. Just say I am not educated on this subject. I don't know. I shouldn't have gotten into this debate with you. I have no fucking clue what I'm talking about.
Who
therefore it's independent.
Who, for the record, for the most part, just believe to not disrupt the ongoing relations with.
Why are you being so carefully footed around?
Because I know that there's going to be a subreddit. There's going to be a subreddit post with like 1 million fucking comments being like, Hassan wants everyone in Taiwan to be killed because he loves China. He's a Xi Jinping.
That's what I heard.
That's what I just. It's already over. You asked me that question, like in jest, and it's gonna.
No, I was
He
genuinely
did not
curious
ask
what
you a
think about
question in jest. He really genuinely wants to know if you have any idea what the hell you're talking about.
I think that
Hassan Piker am using a gun.
I think that overall, it's contemporary history is complex. At the end of the day, if the Taiwanese citizens would ever put this up for a vote and we're like, we want to fucking be an independent nation, it's up to them. You know what I mean?
You can't. Done that?
They literally are an independent nation. I love how Ethan is trying not to laugh at him right now.
No, there is no.
No, what Hassan said is true from everything I've read. The most people in Taiwan nowadays support just keeping the status quo, like the kind of.
But they're
strategic ambiguity of
the
what's
overwhelming
going on
majority. The overwhelming majority's consensus opinion is that they don't want to disrupt relations with China, and they also like obviously if it was a situation between like
don't a lot of people in Taiwan fucking hate China?
Like full-blown independence versus like becoming a Chinese state, like becoming a part of the Chinese state.
Do the people of Taiwan like pay taxes in China? Like, do they vote? And
I don't know. I don't know
if they
the
even have
exact
elections.
details of that.
I
but-
don't know the exact details. I'll tell you what, Hassan. I'll tell you what the answer to both of those questions are. No.
They have like travel status in China.
But the thing is, like, as far as Chinese Taiwanese relations goes, like the original inception of the country
he is
Taiwan
doing the
is
verbal Charleston. It's kind of weird.
fascist dictatorship that America recognized as the real China until Richard Nixon normalized relations with China. And that's where they implemented the. But the thing is, like, as far as Chinese Taiwanese relations goes, like the original inception of the country is
Taiwan
is a fascist dictatorship that America recognized as the real China until Richard Nixon normalized relations with China, and that's where they implemented the they call it strategic ambiguity, which I call lying.
Hold on. This says that the current administration of Taiwan maintains that Taiwan is already an independent country.
Yeah.
There's yes.
This does not.
That would be why, like, they have it listed in the list of countries that you can choose from on websites and things as a country and not like region of something. You know how you see in that list, like British Virgin Islands, shit like that. No, it's just Taiwan. It's not Chinese Taiwan. It's not Taiwan, state of China. It's just Taiwan.
Does not have to push for any sort of formal independence.
There are well, that's because they don't want to do like a full blown.
Exactly.
They don't want to disrupt the status quo. That's why they're saying that.
Well, sure, they don't want to be invaded by China.
They want autonomy while simultaneously being under the Chinese banner, according
Seems like
to
they want
international.
independence, but they just don't want to be like attacked by China militarily.
Well, that's part of it for sure. So you understand how Taiwan was developed as a nation state, right? Like, so Mao purged and defeated the counter-revolutionary forces. Taiwan has been a larger part of like China historically, and the original Taiwanese claim was that the entire mainland China belonged to what is now known as Taiwan. And that was the American foreign policy position as well, because, China was communist and Taiwan was a fascist military dictatorship.
See, I don't know very much about this stuff either, but wouldn't you not want to be on the side of Mao? I'm just, isn't Mao like the bad person? And I don't know about Taiwan being a fascist dictatorship, but it wasn't Mao a communist dictator? Like, aren't both bad? Like, I'm confused. What?
So they were like, oh yeah, we're just gonna completely ignore China until Nixon normalized relations with China, and then Taiwan became a democratic country, of course, with still a lot of reactionary opinions overall, but like that's gone away in recent years. I think the younger generations have a different perspective on the matter, but overall, like, historically speaking, Taiwan and China being the same country, it has been around for much longer than, like, as Elon Musk said, Hawaii being an American state.
So? That's dumb. That's like saying Newfoundland's only been part of Canada since 1949. Therefore, I can't even make that comparison. What kind of dumbass shit is that?
Much longer.
Who cares?
Taiwan is already independent. That's what I'm saying. People don't want a formal declaration just because they don't want a fucking war. But they're not wanting to be Hong Kong and be consumed by the Chinese party.
They don't want to be Hong Kong? What happened in Hong Kong?
What do you mean, what happened in Hong Kong? It literally happened 5 years ago. And that was just the recent thing. There was shit going on in the 90s. There was shit like when what the fuck are you talking about what happened with Hong Kong? There's been shit going on with Hong Kong for 40 years. Because the Chinese are angry that the British had it.
Am I saying the right place?
No, what happened in Hong Kong?
Am I saying the right place?
See? Ethan is so shocked. He's so shocked that Hassan doesn't know anything about what's been happening in Hong Kong that he's like, wait, did I say the wrong place? Like, surely he knows what's going on in Hong Kong. Maybe I misspoke. Like,
no, you
were independent, and then they got fucking eaten.
They were
up.
not independent.
Oh, they had some rights. They were less independent than Taiwan, and then they got eaten up.
Hong Kong was bought by
Are you saying the people of Hong Kong did not want to be?
There were certainly people that did not want to be a part of China. Absolutely, that is 100% correct.
Most of them.
A lot of them were pretty happy when the British bought Hong Kong, and then when China got them back, they were like, oh, fuck.
The people there took a lot of pride in not being.
A lot of people enjoyed having Western civil liberties, while simultaneously like being in a unique position. But now that China already does regular trade with the rest of the world, because like at a time in like the 90s, Hong Kong was seen as like this prosperous middle ground, but since the 2000s, like because of an insane amount of
They didn't buy Hong Kong. It was a 100-year lease.
Development and insane trade relations with the rest of the planet, there are tier 1 cities that are even larger and have more economic activity than Hong Kong in and of itself. And there was always a timeline where Hong Kong was going to be given back to China. They just accelerated it by like 2 decades, if I'm not mistaken, because that was a lease on Hong Kong. So the people of Hong Kong, there were certainly a lot of people in Hong Kong that did not want to be a part of the Chinese state. But overall, if you look at the situation in Hong Kong right now, it's like they claimed that it was going to be devastating. And
Wait. Didn't you just say what happened in Hong Kong? And now you're like, well, if you look at the situation in Hong Kong, which one is it, Hassan? Do you not know what happened, or do you know?
That has not happened.
Not that we know of, because they have no freedom of speech anymore.
Right?
Okay.
They can't talk. They lost
that
the
part
right.
is true. You're right.
What are we going to learn from them?
I will not.
They have secret prisons,
I
bro.
do not agree with China's social or civil liberties policies. I do not agree with that at all.
That is the most pussy-footed way of saying what you're I do not agree with China's civil liberties policies at all. What are you trying to be, Justin Trudeau? Holy shit.
That's why I don't live in China. I live in America. However, having said that, you can just go to Hong Kong and you can just go to every part of China pretty much and see for yourself. This is no longer like the North Korea style hermit kingdom where like no information comes out. Like we have
regardless.
We have
Really? So people that were providing information on COVID from China weren't just suddenly fucking disappearing? That wasn't happening? People who were just speaking out about what was going on in China, they weren't there one day and gone the next day. No. None of that's been happening at fucking all.
We have a shit ton of Chinese people that live in America. And
Regardless, bro, it's not that
China.
they had rights. They don't have rights now. They lost a lot of rights. But whatever. I mean, you're. This is interesting. Though. You're very soft. You're very
nonchalant,
soft-footed around the issue of China.
And
you love China.
I think China.
If you love China so much, why don't you marry it?
Fucking come
once
on,
again,
Ethan. That's the
I don't
dumbest
live
thing
there.
ever.
I choose to live here because of the issues that you just brought up, which is civil liberties being taken away, no freedom of speech, walled garden internet. Like there are.
But you just said that most of that is American intelligence propaganda and foreign policy propaganda. And now you're just turning around and saying, oh, but no, this is why I live in America. Because I don't agree with Chinese civil liberties policies. So which one is it? Either American intelligence agencies and foreign policy is lying about Chinese policies, or they're not, and you are quite right. That's why you live in America, because their civil liberties suck. You don't get to have it both ways, my dude.
There are certainly parallels to the American state or the Western world that there are certain comparisons that you could make, but overall, that kind of mechanism of control is one that I do not appreciate personally.
Then
which is
why
I
did you
choose to
say
live
it
here.
didn't exist 2 minutes ago?
As far as like cruelty, oppression, like what you're talking about with respect to Hong Kong, the promises that Western media overall made about like how China was going to crush Hong Kong under its like ruthless, oppressive thumb has not happened.
I don't think that was the
Naomi
point. I
Wu
think the
has
point was just that
disappeared.
there's
Oh yeah,
whoever was
she was that sexy
vocal about
cyborg chick, right?
wanting to maintain certain rights in Hong Kong was probably thrown in a secret prison and never heard from again.
Right. Plus, what about all the shit going on with the Uyghurs in China? What about I don't know, all of the workers that work for the Shein company? What about all the nets on factories to keep people from literally jumping to their deaths to escape from working such long hours and shit?
I mean,
no, that's
certainly
just
there was
American
political dissidents are
propaganda, right?
definitely
Not the
political
best.
dissidents are definitely like
taken out back.
They're not killed or anything, but even then it's like completely
They take a
unacceptable.
walk and
Yeah.
and they go for a beer and they don't come back. You know what
they
I'm
are
saying?
not. They're not good on that stuff. 100%.
But well, anyway, here.
Killed or anything, but political. I mean, certainly there was political
Yeah.
dissidents are
Yeah,
definitely
not the
political
best.
dissidents are definitely like
taken out back.
They're not killed or anything, but even then it's
Oh!
like completely
They take a
unacceptable.
walk and
Oh, they're not, are they? They're not killed. They just disappeared, never to be heard from again.
and they go for a beer and they don't come back. You
Yeah,
know what
they
I'm
are
saying?
not. They're not good on that stuff.
But
100%.
They're like Dad. They went for a pack of cigarettes.
well, anyway,
Yeah.
I was just curious. I didn't mean to open a
They're
can of worms,
never-
but you say you think the people of Taiwan whatever they want, and it seems to me that the people of Taiwan want independence. So I'm right with you there, brother. Independence for Taiwan.
I think one nation, two systems.
One
You're an
nation, two
idiot.
systems.
Yeah. Which is the current.
Like Israel and Palestine.
Oh my God! You don't want to go down that rabbit hole. Come on.
I just,
now.
I'm just fucking with you.
I kind of like. Is old Ethan coming back? Is old Ethan making a resurgence?
I'm just trying to get you.
Are you? I kind of like this.
That part is like literally. I mean, that is a. I mean, that's a advocacy in the opposite direction, in my opinion, where
Independence for Taiwan. You heard it here from Hassan.
Because remember, like the overwhelming majority of people living in Taiwan
double watching.
are
Thank you, Lord
still
Famine.
Han Chinese. Therefore, despite the fact that it's a separate country, it's still like the same people. The language is
Ukraine.
the same. People will say
Ukraine belongs to Russia for that exact reason.
I don't think Ukraine belongs to Russia because
But it
Ukrainian
does though.
Ukrainian nation state, the Ukrainian nation state project. There are similarities. You're not wrong about that. But the Ukrainian nation state project, as a well-defined nation state, has always has been around for much longer than like Taiwan being an independent nation state.
So the people's entitlement to freedom.
Like you can make a better argument for Crimea being a separate country than like.
So the claim to freedom and independence seems to be the amount of time that you've been pushing for that. Oh, okay. So you can't just you can't just be like, hey, we'd really like to not be oppressed by a rather large country of communist dictators, and the rule. Oh, I'm sorry, you just started to not like this. You have to keep not liking it for another 100 years. Then you can push for independence.
What I'm hearing is that it's just a function of how old their culture is, how entitled they are to freedom.
It's not. I don't think that it's like those two concepts are not the two concepts at play here. Like it's not like entitled to freedom versus.
That's pretty much what you put into play, though.
Entitled to freedom versus what was the other thing that you said?
Well, it just seems like you're talking about like their say have some kind of national heritage or identity.
Well, the thing that I was mentioning there, the reason why I mentioned that is because you were talking about making a comparison between like Israel Palestine.
That was a joke, and also, could you imagine if flash back to the American War for Independence for a second, and the British go, I'm sorry, old chap, you've only been gone since 1620. You haven't wanted independence long enough. We don't recognize your revolution. We aren't fighting with you. We're just still going to rule over you and oppress you. Like, could you imagine? Could you? Holy shit. Well, they haven't wanted independence long enough.
Being the same
oh my God.
people, I think, makes that kind of, especially existing under the construct of having like one nation state regardless, with freedom of travel in between. It's literally like a mile off the coast, you know what I mean, of China. Having all of that factors into...
It's not even the same language. No, it's
like
not.
whether there's going to be assimilation or not.
People in Taiwan don't speak Cantonese. Like, well, I'm sure that there is Cantonese and Mandarin in Taiwan, but I'm pretty sure that there's a different language.
There's no need for assimilation even. They have like normal trade relations with Taiwan, you know what I mean? It's like, that's why it's considered to be a delicate political conversation, but one that currently the current system benefits both
and so if
places.
China takes military action against Taiwan, as some people speculate may happen.
Yeah, I mean, that would not be good. I don't think that...
I need that sound clip from the Treehouse of Horror. That's bad. That's good. That's bad.
That would be good. I think that would be really, really terrifying. It would be disruptive for the entire global economy as well.
Right, but I'm just mean like from... Whose army are you joining?
I think old Ethan might be coming back.
Which front line are you fighting?
I'm fucking moving to
Taiwan.
I'm moving to an undisclosed location. I'm moving to an undisclosed location.
I'm on the front.
I'm gonna be on a fucking ship.
Whoever has the
streaming.
best computer chips, I'm fighting for.
Okay.
I'm a chip boy myself.
If it wasn't for America, China would have some pretty solid chip technology, but America's like regularly trying to stop that process. Like they went to the Netherlands to be like, you can't sell China your chip technology, which is fucking insane if you ask me.
It's incredible the
How is he able to both shit on China and also praise China at the exact same time? And using the praise and the shitting, like the same points are used for both actions.
the takes in chat,
I've
how many
never
people are like
seen somebody
just the
less aware of what they're saying.
the polarization of this topic. It's fucking insane.
Well, of course, there's going to be polarization on the topic because the American media has been gearing people to be across the board like vicious, no matter what, to any foreign adversary. China being the main foreign adversary now.
Except what do you say about the people who have either left China or managed to get information out of China? Are they just kowtowing to American media? Are they American media agents? Or could it be that American and Western media is actually getting this information from people who have managed to get the fuck out?
So people are going to be
Just
very
saying.
passionate in their defense and start saying, we care about the people in Taiwan. You're not talking about the people in Taiwan. You don't
So
care
it's
about
it's the media. If it weren't for the media's propaganda,
the
people would
media's
not
fault.
be siding with Taiwan.
Yeah. I mean, think about it this way. Why the fuck does no one care about Yemen? You know what I mean? Why? Because Saudi Arabia is the one.
Wait, nobody cares about Yemen? Really? Are you sure about that? Because people care more about Saudi Arabia than Yemen. I'm pretty sure people know that both places are doing pretty horrific shit in the realm of human rights violations. I'm pretty sure we all know both places are not bastions of human rights.
ally, Saudi Arabia,
Okay.
is the one doing the genocide in Yemen.
And
you never see people get this passionate about
Well, I think-
Yemen. You
I
don't see
think
people get this
Taiwan-
passionate.
What? No, what?
About
more-
Syria.
I think Taiwan has more relevance to the United States, like in terms of economical
Yes,
and
absolutely.
social.
That was developed.
Well, that's only
designed-
natural that people would care more about something that affects them more. I don't
I'm
think
with
Yemen.
you
And I'm not
there,
saying it's right or
Shrap.
wrong.
No,
I just
this
don't
is
think
getting
Yemen affects.
very frustrating.
But it's still people. There's still people that
No,
are
I-
being mercilessly slaughtered, whereas no one is
I'm
being
not-
slaughtered in Taiwan in a similar capacity, and yet.
Wait.
In terms of economical, and social.
Yeah, that was developed.
Well, that's only
designed-
natural that people would care more about something that affects them more. I don't think Yemen.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I just don't think Yemen affects.
But it's still people.
He didn't say it wasn't people. He's just saying that the States is more invested in what's going on with Taiwan because they're more economically tied to Taiwan. He didn't say that nobody cares about Yemen. He just said that people care a little bit more about Taiwan.
There's still people that
No,
are being
Holy
mercilessly
shit.
slaughtered, whereas no one is being
not-
slaughtered in Taiwan in a similar capacity, and yet there are way more passionate because.
Not saying it's
like
right or
you
wrong.
said,
I mean,
it is designed to have this kind of.
and you think that if the only
Manufacturing
reason
consent.
people care about Ukraine is because of the media,
Absolutely, 100%.
nobody would care.
Really?
Yeah, of
Did
course.
anybody care about Georgia?
Yeah, that's a great
Probably.
question.
I don't know.
No one gave a shit about Georgia. That's crazy.
Hold on. Well, I mean, what about in Europe? They seem to care about Ukraine a lot.
It's the similar principle.
Is it
Media
all-
is still
is
media
it all
everywhere
because of the
around
media?
the world.
I mean,
It plays a very
Ukraine is
significant role in
well,
people's
hold
lives.
on.
in
Ukraine
manufacturing.
borders Europe, and I mean, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but Georgia is not really in such a geographically, strategically important location as Ukraine.
There you go. Also, if shit goes bad with Ukraine, where the fuck do you think most of the oil's coming from? Russia, right? So if we're fucking defending the Ukraine and Russia and the Ukraine keep amping shit up, like we're all gonna have to figure out rework the oil importation. Like that, people care a lot about that. Again, economics.
Okay.
Well, I'm just explaining why people might
Okay.
care more about Ukraine than Georgia. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying
Still
why.
people. It's the people
I'm
that
not
are being
saying
ruthlessly
it's not people.
slaughtered.
I'm just saying because your theory is
Oh my
that
god, he's twirling his hair.
the support for Ukraine
Oh,
and Taiwan is essentially manufactured.
He's
that
like,
it wouldn't exist.
I can't even twirl my hair.
It shouldn't
yet.
exist.
My hair's not long enough.
I'm not saying it shouldn't exist. I'm simply
Nobody
stating
said
that.
that, yeah.
I'm simply stating that
It's manufactured. People only care
tremendous
about
amount-
it because they've been tricked to caring about it.
It's not tricked, but dude, like, normal people.
But that's
People don't
what
think
you
about
guys
foreign
are saying.
policy. Are you saying that you don't think that normal people's opinions about like international matters are shaped by what they see on the news and what's prioritized?
I'll give,
by
I'll,
them?
I'll give you a better example.
Of course it is.
Hold on,
yeah.
hold on, because I'm being double teamed now, so I need to speak.
Okay.
Of course it is. But this implication that you're like, if you say nobody cares about Taiwan or Ukraine because of the media, it implies that, you know, the support for those two countries or care for those two countries is like, manufactured.
Yeah, manufactured. Like nobody's doing their own research. Like nobody's reading. It's just the news says this. And yes, there are people like that, but not everybody is.
That it's really not sincere. That's what
you
it
just
sounds like.
you jumped to that. Nobody
I'm
said.
sorry.
No,
No,
I am
that's
saying
what
that.
you said.
Yeah, he is saying
Yeah,
that.
I'm saying that the support for the overwhelming majority of Americans, for any
manufactured,
country
not
that
authentic.
any country that the United States of America has a genuine interest in is manufactured in either direction. It can be manufactured carelessness and inconsideration, like being inconsiderate and ruthlessly violent at certain points, which is the example I was going to use with 9/11 and what we did post 9/11, or it could be manufactured in the other direction where it's like this is the just war. This is the just war that we have to fight, like we did in Vietnam originally when there was need to generate popular support for whatever kind of action America consistently takes.
Please tell me that he said that the thought that the Vietnam War was just was manufactured, and that he did not just say that the actual Vietnam War was just. I like he's doing a really shitty job of making points, but it's hard to tell whether he means that the idea that the war was just was manufactured or that he thinks that it was just.
Now,
I'm not denying that propaganda exists.
Yeah.
But I am saying that like the comparison of Ukraine to Georgia is not apples to oranges. That's all I'm saying. It's not.
It's not. It's like saying that's like saying the First World War had the same historical importance to the world that the American Civil War did. Or no, that's not even it's like saying the First World War had the same global fallout as, say, the Boer War between the British and the Boers. Nobody gave a fuck about the Boers unless you were a British frickin' colony member. So, but to say that nobody cared about that war because this is stupid.
What what do you mean by this?
Ukraine borders like mainland Russia or Europe.
The conflicts are not the same.
Europe cares a lot about it.
Okay. I would say that it's
Yeah, exactly. Like I just said, in just before the First World War, when British went to Africa to fight the Boers, do you think anybody that wasn't a British colony member gave a fuck? No. But do you think people all over the world gave a fuck about the First World War? Yeah, I'm betting they did.
It's probably more. I would say that in
Why
Europe
is that
there's
so hard to
probably
understand?
more of a not controversy necessarily, but it's a more divisive issue in I think Europe than it is in America, most likely.
It's also like not the best
look,
precedent when like tyrants start land grabbing in Europe. Generally doesn't have
disagree
a
with
good
that.
precedent.
I agree with you. I think that
And so I understand why people don't like
completely
the Ukraine thing.
unjustifiable, and it's also even if you're like pro-Russia, pro-Vladimir Putin, anti-NATO, right? Even if you're all of those things, it is a laughably idiotic thing to do because all you've done is now galvanize NATO support in Europe and justified it. Because that was the entire reason for NATO's existence, is to stop the USSR, stop communism from thriving. And obviously, Russia is a very different country than the USSR was, and is no longer ideologically aligned with communism at all.
Oh, that's funny. Even up into the 2000s, I bet you even now there are still parts of Russia that has to ration their electricity and their water. And I know this firsthand because I have an aunt who left Russia in 2000, and she still has family there, and there are certain times that she can't call them because they have shut the power off because they have to conserve it. But yeah, no, they totally adopted capitalism. Yeah.
It is a a state that Western capitalists basically redesigned and propped up oligarchs, including people like Vladimir Putin. So, despite all of that, it's still utilized as a protection racket that you basically justified its existence of by doing such an unimaginably cruel, inhumane, unjustifiable act, invading Ukraine. So it's a strategic blunder, even if you're like pro-Russia.
I do think that I just think people are capable of caring about it without.
Well, I mean, I care
being
about
like,
it.
you know,
I care about it.
People sincerely care about it, even though, you know, you think it's unfair that people didn't care as much about Georgia. You know, that's my point as well.
How did we move from I can't do this anymore. There's 7 minutes left of this bullshit. We've moved away from Taiwan. Now we're arguing over caring more about Georgia than we are than Ukraine. I don't get it. What? Okay. Let's hear about DSP yelling at his fans because apparently they made him buy Mortal Kombat 1. So let's see what this has to say. Again, huge shout outs to Memology for this clip channel.
And so what I'm frustrated about is, so far, if you look at how much coverage I've done in Mortal Kombat 1, 6.5 hours of story and around 3 hours of invasion. So I've played the game for almost 10 hours so far, okay? Aww. I've done 2 night streams in Mortal Kombat 1. Both of those night streams have been insanely slow for support, to the point where last night's stream was actually the slowest stream I've had all year long for support.
Because people... Okay, this is what I've realized. People want to play the game themselves, right? So they don't want to watch story mode, right? They don't want the spoilers. So if you get your ass online, maybe play some towers, do the fucking invasion shit offline, like, or maybe invasion mode might be good to stream, but don't stream story mode. Like, I'm gonna finish story mode not streaming it, because I know, especially because it fully releases tomorrow, everyone's gonna want to play it themselves. Nobody's gonna want it to be spoiled. I've noticed that out of the MK streams I've done, the lowest viewed ones are the ones where I'm playing through story, because nobody wants the spoilers. So fucking play invasions, play towers, and go online, dumbass.
I'm really reliant on, you know, basically bringing in as much money as I can on streams, and if I have a slow time or whatever, it stresses me out. And it stresses me out, it does. And I'm not going to sit here and
rocking again. Why is he rocking?
But that's pretty bad. I dumped extra money to get Mortal Kombat 1 early for you guys, so that we could get through this single player content quickly, right? Because I knew Lies of P was coming, and you guys were going to see that. You didn't want to see them both on the same day come out, right? And I did all this, and I explained to you all along how this game was going to go. And people were like, yes, play it. We're dying to see it. We want to see what this game is. It's exciting. A new Mortal Kombat. People were even screaming, we want Mortal Kombat over Street Fighter.
Yes! Online! Go online! Oh my god!
Street Fighter is played out. You played it for 3.5 months. We want Mortal Kombat. Well, what I'm seeing now directly is that this essentially is the vocal minority. All right? Because here's the deal. The other day on Thursday was my day off. I did an impromptu stream of Street Fighter 6 that wasn't even planned. All right? I didn't even announce it. I just turned on the stream and started playing with Lily. I got high attendance. I got support in every way you can think. People were ecstatic that I was playing Street Fighter 6 again. Right? But ever since I started playing Mortal Kombat,
maybe a little bit, and now I went.
Well, like I just said, go play online. Go do some towers. Go do Invasion. Don't play story online. Finish the story for yourself. Unlock a whole bunch of shit. And then go on stream and be like, hey, I finished story mode. Here's all the shit I unlocked. And then go online. Like, why is that hard?
Nope, not at all. A lot of people are coming and saying, it doesn't look that good. Some people are coming by and saying, it looks all right. And there's just been pretty much the deadest support. And that is disheartening. Again, the understanding was I was going to spend extra money to play it early so we could get a lot of gameplay in this weekend before Liza P came out. And I guess people just don't care. So maybe I am listening to the wrong people. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe we do have a vocal minority who are screaming for things. And then when I do them, it turns out that it's not actually what people wanting. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I don't know. I just don't know what to believe anymore. It seems very random. Sometimes I could play a game I never expected was going to do well, and it does incredibly well. And then sometimes I play a game that I swear is a home run. Why would Mortal Kombat not do well? And it seems like people just aren't really caring about it.
They want to play the story for themselves. They don't want to watch that. They want to watch people go online. They want to watch ranked matches. They want to watch tournaments. They want to do King of the Hill sessions. They want lobbies. They don't want the single player shit. Duh. Even the pro Mortal Kombat players, mostly they've played the shit that, like, the story and shit off of stream, and they're already going online and trying to learn their team, like their fighter and cameo. Because they know that, first of all, their viewers are going to buy the game and they're going to want to play the story too. And second of all, they want to start getting good at the game as quickly as they can. So, of course, people aren't going to watch the story because I keep saying it. They don't want it ruined.
Nobody fucking cares. Stop that shit. 2 Hour Woman says people aren't supporting the game. They're supporting the fact you did a stream on your day off. That would make sense, except every time I play Street Fighter 6, I get good support. Every time. Every time I play Street Fighter 6, we got people coming by, super chatting, dropping memberships, and doing tips. Every time. Every single time.
Okay.
It's not just an exception that it was the one time. That was pretty much like I said, the night before I had done a Lily stream. And
here's a question. Are you playing World Tour or are you online, Phil? Because I know the answer to that question. So, maybe if you got your happy ass out of the campaign modes on stream and online, people would start supporting you more on the Mortal Kombat streams.
That stream had done well as well. And that Lily stream didn't even go so well. I was losing more than I was winning, and it still went well. So...
You're always losing more than you're winning.
No, I'm sorry, I hate to tell you. I just don't think that's the case at all. I think it's a case of... I think there was hype because Mortal Kombat 1 was new, and then the moment people started to see what it was, they were like, oh. And then people just kind of tapped out and dipped out. But and then it's funny
because they saw
whenever
you were
there's a
playing
stream,
the
this
story
is
and they
very
didn't
much
want to see
truthful. If I'm on a stream, all right, and all of a sudden it's a slow stream, there's almost no support, the haters show up, the hate watchers, and you'll see my viewers will skyrocket for toxic reasons. And the reason you can always tell this is because no one's talking in the chat.
So?
Seriously. Everyone's just, it's the same people talking in the chat as always. Why do I have 400, 500, 600 viewers out of nowhere?
I'm sorry. Views are views. Do you not want your fucking watch hours to stay consistent. Fucking, if people are gonna come hate watch you, hey, they're still giving you interaction. Why the fuck are you bitching about it?
Because they all want to sit there and rub their hands together like this and say, Phil has a slow stream, so this justifies all the years of online harassment we've given him. See, because he has one slow stream. Rubbing their hands together. Yeah, getting that vibe back, baby. Yeah, I'm getting the groove. They're idiots, but that's how they act. They're all immature morons.
That's what they're doing.
So, even though last night, for example, I was playing Mortal Kombat 1, the attendance was not good. And then all of a sudden, when people saw it was a slow stream, attendance skyrocketed. People were interested, right? It's like, oh, gee, I wonder why, right? What I need from you is feedback on what exactly you're expecting and what you want. Because we don't have any more major new releases.
Play
until
online,
the end of the month, at the
dumbass.
27th, I believe it is, so a little over a week. We've got the big DLC for Street Fighter 6, which is the Aki DLC, a new character. She's completely unique and looks nothing like any character I've seen in Street Fighter before. I have no idea how she's going to translate into being a competitive fighter in this game. I'm going to have to mess around with her a little bit in training mode, in her trials, before we take her online. But I'm going to treat that just like I did with Rashid, where we'll kind of do a whole day of that character and try to, understand them, and then decide if that's a character I want to further pursue, or if I want to go back to maybe just the characters who I've been focusing on and trying to get better with, okay? So, that's coming up. But outside of that, all the next slew of new releases are coming out in October. Assassin's Creed, Alan Wake.
Blah, 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 blah. Give me more money to buy these games that I can shit on and hate playing, and then complain that all of you aren't watching me and giving me money. Wow. Just wow, Phil. Like, you've been doing this for 15 years and you still can't figure out how to do that. Like, obviously people aren't going to want to watch the single player stuff. They're not. So just don't do story mode on stream. I guarantee you, if you go online onto ranked, especially with the fact that people can hear the mics and shit like that, people will come and watch. I guarantee you people will come and watch. But no, you don't want to do that. You'd rather sit there and complain about how nobody's donating to you, nobody's watching you, and there's only haters watching you. Which is still people watching you and still giving you watch time. But hey, whatever. You just gotta bitch about something, don't you, Phil? Just gotta bitch about something. You can't just be like, thanks, hate watchers. This guy looks like he records little girls on the high bars on the playground and always zooms in when their panties show. Oh god. Oh god. That's terrifying. That's fucking ugh. Ugh. Alright, you guys.
Do we still have a Discord?
Yeah, I've revived, or I've done some work on it recently. I've changed the name of it to BP's Den of Debauchery.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna call it the DP Den of Debauchery.
No.
Okay. There will be no DP in this house.
There will be no DP in this house.
Okay.
But yes, there is a Discord. I've done some reworking on it a little bit in the past month or so. I will figure out how to pass the invites along. Alright, we have hit the 2-hour mark, and I need to go put something in my belly because I took my nighttime meds and I thought I had enough food in my belly, but I apparently don't. So I'm gonna go fix that. Tomorrow is a double gaming day, so I am going to go live tomorrow. I'm gonna choose a different cameo to go with Ashra. I'm gonna pick Scorpion, and we're gonna lab that a little bit. We might do some towers, and I might fuck around with invasion mode before I go live to try and get the fuck out of Johnny's house. Because, god damn it, that's annoying. But yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream tonight. And I will see you guys tomorrow, as I said, for a double gaming stream. So, have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful